got something exciting. Unfortunately, it's not exciting for me because I got to get rid of one of my cars, but it's going to be exciting for the next owner that's possibly watching this video. This car we've had for several years that we owned under our ownership, which is Top Automotive. This vehicle was owned by one of our older customers, and the gentleman was an extremely awesome guy that wanted a car that was super reliable, didn't have too much horsepower, and had a lot of power when he needed it. So it has right around 550 wheel horsepower. It could be bumped up way higher than that, 700, which I'll explain on our driving video. But this car is a must-have. But the Tiptronic car is, you could just cruise, and when you have that kind of power level, you don't have to worry about shifting. And because it's a convertible, it's like a perfect roadster. You could go to the mountains with it. It's just look awesome it looks. It's black. It's the perfect color. And this car had so much work put into it. This is a $40,000 worth of work. Turbochargers, intercoolers, custom exhaust system. I have 2 custom exhaust systems that this car originally had. We have now M&M Race Exhaust, which provides all the exhaust systems for Porsche Motorsports Racing, which it's a valve system, which will be quiet. So we had this exhaust system custom made for us, 4-inch, 3.5-inch tip on the outside, staggered, doesn't stick out. The exhaust was $12,500 alone, with a controller inside that we modified. You push a button, you can turn it off. So if you have neighbors that complain about noise, now there's no complaints because you can just keep the valves on and it's going to be completely eliminated. So it doesn't bypass the mufflers, but we'll go directly into the mufflers. Then if you want to turn the valves off, you have full flow now and full capabilities of like a race car type of sound. This car is not over pushed with boost. There's a lot of cars that are modified that guys are running 650 wheel horsepower. This is 550. It's plenty more to push. If you ever wanted to push this to 725 wheel with E85, you can. All you'd have to do is run the tune and install slightly bigger injectors. So this already has everything. New turbos, new turbo lines, new fittings, new sharkwork fittings, new exhaust, new headers. It has all new lines. It has all new cooling fittings. It has a fully transmission that was serviced, removed. The conductor plate was replaced. Suspension pieces were upgraded. The bottom end on the exhaust, if we look underneath, all our control arm adjustments. If we look under here, you can see all the new piping. They're all custom. It's kind of hard to see, but everything's completely custom on this car as far as adjustability. So what Porsche didn't do and should have done, like on the GT2, this car we've already done it to. So now, if we walk down, we're going to show you guys some features. What makes this Cabriolet 997 Turbo so special is it's a 09, which was the last year. It has full black piano package, which was a custom feature, which has all the piano black bits, which you cannot get if you wanted to order it from Porsche. Only to this VIN number that will sell you that. We have these seats were the standard GT2 seats that came with the GT2 car, unless you went for the GT2 race seats, which were buckets. This was the standard bucket seat that GT2s came with. This was an option for turbo car. They normally have more comfort seat that doesn't have such wide bucket sections. Also has illuminated turbo crests. This was a 2009 feature. It has an updated stereo system. Also, black console is fully piano black with full carbon fiber trim. Steering wheel, full carbon fiber. That's a custom steering wheel with perforated leather. Porsche crests were another option, which we have on the seats themselves, and all Porsche crests right there. Very well equipped car. This vehicle is very well equipped. It has pretty much all the options. It has the steel brakes, which you don't have to worry about expensive carbon ceramics. And that's really the only option it didn't have, was the carbon ceramic brakes. We could sell you this vehicle if you do like the wheels. These are Brixton Porsche 20-inch wheels with brand new Michelin tires. And these are 4S tires, which is top of the line. We could sell you these. This is a brush look. It's kind of like a faint polished on the inside with a brush look with black actual bolts. The offset's perfect, so there's no spacers. You don't need them. They're custom made, forged wheels. They're 28 something a piece just for the actual rim, but we'll work you a good deal and get you all 4-wood tires if you did decide to take it. And then with the M&M exhaust, if you want an overall price with everything on it, I'll be happy to also quote you that. They'll come with stock wheels with new tires, so that's all included. If you do opt out for these wheels, we can work out a deal where I can take those wheels on the trade and then just give you this wheel. So a couple other features we have is this one has On the 09s, they have auxiliary cable, and that has Bluetooth as well, which the 2007s and 8s did not come with. It's a race engine in this car, which is a Mezger engine. Cannot destroy it. We work on a lot of these. If you watch some of our other videos, our turbo cars, the Mezger engine is indestructible. What we want to do, guys, is show you a car that we typically see purchased for similar value to this that requires all the work that we've already completed. One of the biggest problems is, and I'll show you what things you need to look out for when you're buying these. This is really the reason for this video. So we have IPD plenum fully tuned for this. We have full map tuning for this vehicle. We have a IPD Y-pipe plenum all together. It looks like a stock vehicle, and that was the whole intent. Customer wanted it to look stock, and that's what we did. We basically did what he asked us to do. The issues they have is these hydraulic cylinders will start to leak. Ours is fully rebuilt by a manufacturer in Germany that upgraded the internals. So this piece right here, for you, if you ever had to rebuild it, and 90% of them, they're leaking on this side, you'll have to rebuild it. It's gonna cost you a good, close to $2,000 to do it with labor. Ours has already been redone. This is a full redone system. You will never have to worry about the hydraulic system giving you problems and leaking on you. So if you're looking for a car that had everything done on it, this is the vehicle. Stuff you don't even have to mess with, because if you have to remove the engine, you might as well do all the work. It's going to cost you at least $15,000 to get all the hoses, to reseal everything. Everything's done. She's ready to go to the next home. We would only sell a car that's in perfect condition just like this one, because we're a repair facility. We specialize in service and repair in Porsches, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, so we want to make sure this vehicle is perfect when it leaves the door. And it is, because it was our car. So I want to show you guys a couple other vehicles that we have here that ends up costing customers big money. Now they're here doing the work. So this is a vehicle, obviously, as I mentioned, we owned for a few years. We bought it from one of our older customers. He was a 70-year-old gentleman that wanted us to do all this work on the car. So it has about 40,000 of his work and 20 of ours, a total of $60,000. And we always build cars in our shop not to exceed the engine's capacity and durability. Overbuild everything, but underbuild so we're not pushing out max power that this engine can deliver with stock internals. So for example, 550 wheel horsepower is not an issue, because you can push this engine to 725 wheel with E85 and still not blow your motor and still have a reliable engine if it's properly tuned. So we're only at 550, but the engine is designed, if you upgrade the mapping and have it retuned, it can push 725 at the wheel. So the exhaust and everything that we have on the car is already made for the bigger components. The only thing it would have to have is bigger injectors, because it would be limited right at 650 horsepower, a little bit less than 650 horsepower. But the gentleman that owned this car wanted it to be a reliable vehicle, so that's what we made. And we have several of these, and I hate to get rid of it. I love this car. It handles amazing. But unless you're pushing the sport button, you're driving daily at 500 wheel horsepower. So if we take wheel horsepower from stock rating, which is about 425, you know, we're talking wheel, not crank. Crank is going to be a lot more. We're not causing it to strain, because we still run bigger turbos on this thing. So think of it as like a Cobb Stage 2. Very safe. 95% of your Porsches on the road that are 997s all have some kind of a tune on them, whether it be a good Stage 2 tune or Stage 1.5 or a full-blown Stage 3 that will put strain on the motor. But this thing you can literally drive regular driving, just feels normal. Idles, as you can see, there's no surgeon idle. It's tuned very smooth. We tune all our cars, we road tune after we're done with the dyno runs. That way the car idles and takes off and everything's smooth on it. So I'll demonstrate how smooth it drives with sport on, sport off. Currently we're sport chrono off. But even with the stock horsepower, let's say a 997 turbo GT2, 997 turbo with overboost at 5 seconds each gear shift, you're at 530 crank. Most guys don't know that. They think they're at 480. With overboost, which is sport chrono, you're at 530. So GT2, for example, already comes standard with 530, so you don't have that capability. It's already tuned for it. This one's just tuned a little bit higher than a GT2. but if we push the gas on it just like an automatic mode, I mean, it goes really smooth. So now we're gonna switch to sport mode, and I'm just gonna keep it in auto mode, and we'll just push it a little bit. I mean, it picks up immediately. Very smooth, torque onto the curve. The car feels and drives amazing. I've put a lot of money in this car because originally we bought this vehicle to keep forever and needs to find a nice new owner. So if you appreciate a car that has everything done, turbos, turbo lines, cooling fittings, I'm getting ready to show you guys what these cars go for. For example, we have one at the shop right now, which is a Tiptronic. Gentleman just purchased it. It's got 59,000 miles, but it just needed 34,000 to be exact worth of work. His engine had cooling fittings leaking, so when we removed it, we found that all the fittings and all the coolant lines had cracks in them. So to refresh everything, the turbo lines, all that stuff adds up quickly. So plus, if you want to do intercoolers, if you want to do a bigger exhaust, that costs even more. So just to get you a quick number rundown, in and out, dropping the engine to do the cooling fittings is right around $6,800 to do it properly. Then we install the metal sharkwork cooling fittings. That adds another $600 to it. Then we reseal the coolers. We install new coolers. That's a couple more thousand. So before you know, you got a $15,000 bill just in components, not counting the performance components like on this car. So this one already has bigger intercoolers, which are $3,000. This one has a $12,500 exhaust system, which is made by M&M. There's a sport button here that valves closed, valves open. So the red is valves open, so now it bypasses the muffler. So you have that really nice sound. The exhaust is made by M&M Motorsports Racing, which is in Germany. They supply all factory race cars for Porsche. They supply all their exhaust systems. So it's not some kind of your typical, you know, Fab Speed, Soul, which are great exhausts. But this is a straight up motorsports exhaust system. So no expense was spared. Well, this car was upgraded, and I wouldn't even really call it modified. It was just upgraded to components that should have came from the factory. All aluminum, all billet, intercoolers versus the plastic housings that can crack occasionally. All aluminum Y pipes and plenums, which are plastic from the factory. And the reason why Porsche did that is because they wanted to restrict some airflow, because if they would have made it all high flow, it would be a faster car than the GT2. That would get into the GT2 category. But normally, when you upgrade these components, you would spend right around, just on the performance stuff, you would spend right around 15 grand on parts, plus turbos. The turbos on this car, another $6,800. So that is everything that's on the car. So you can see how quickly the bill adds up. So we have all our receipts, invoices for this vehicle. So the wheels originally were $2,800 a piece, which they're a brushed Brixton forged wheel that has a custom offset that we chose for this car. It's a 20-inch wheel, and it's running a Michelin 4S tire, which is brand new. They only have 100 miles on them. The transmission's been fully serviced. It's a Mercedes-Benz transmission. That's what the Tiptronics are. And despite what anybody tells you online, that these transmissions are not good, they're the most reliable transmission. The VDKs we have a lot of issues with. Clutch is burning up, displacement sensor problems, $25,000 transmission when it fails. The Mercedes .6 transmissions, flawless. We haven't had problems. We also have butt shift on these cars, but they're super reliable. So that's basically everything about the car that I know that I can tell you guys.